I'm good, and you?
With me in the studio is our regular analyst with us in the Alhaji Mustafa Abdulmalik. Mustafa, how are you? How was the weekend, sir?
Oh, it was okay. And yours?
Regarding the situation in Tanzania, Nigeria, and global news, what have you been busy with over the weekend?
The weekend was, at least we have something to discuss about, which was the debate that between the presidential aspirants, because Nigerians are passing through a lot, and they are like trying to foresee what post-Buhari regime will become like. So that is the main thing that most Nigerians are keen.
Did you pay proper attention to that interview, that debate?
Yeah, I did.
What did you gain from there?
Well, I, just like many other Nigerians, Alfred Rwani, he asked a very pertinent question regarding the budget deficit, that any coming government is going to inherit 21 trillion budget, and with a shortfall of over 11 trillion or thereabout. But all the presidential candidates, they didn't answer satisfactory. The answers they provided wasn't satisfactory enough.
They are not really sure what they will face.
No, but it's something. At least you should prepare yourself that this is a task you are going to inherit. For instance, now, if you are running for that office, you should know that, look, this is the problem on ground right now, and you should prepare yourself ahead. Not that when you come to the office and then you start junketing up and down, looking for a solution here and there. That is the problem that we face, that lead to the first recession that we had in 2016. So, and that, if care is not taken, we'll still repeat the same thing again, because if you look at it very well, the economy issue is not about something that is not a magic, it's not something of divine, it's something of practical and reality, it's something that work on indices. It's just like if you have an expenditure of 100,000, that is expenditure, and your income is 50,000, how are you going to make that 50,000 naira to make it 100,000? That is the case. That is the question that Mr. Rwani asked them yesterday, but none of them could answer it. All they keep saying is that I will do this, I will do that, I will do that, and they run away from it.
For those that were absent, what's their response to that?
Well, it's really sad, because when you are talking about any debate or town hall meeting, as far as 2023 election is concerned, and Tinubu is not there, Atiku is not there, to me it's more or less like empty thing. Because if you look at it, the aura, the atmosphere yesterday was more or less of a relaxed atmosphere. Although the organizers tried to caution the people from the hall not to react. But in a situation whereby you have Tinubu, you have Atiku there, at least you will see the atmosphere will be more.
But there were still reactions from the.
Yeah, despite that, you can't completely control human beings.
Like a disagreement.
So they disagree among themselves. For instance, when Dino Melai was becoming too much like that, you could see that Peter Obi now fled, and he addressed that issue practically. And you see Kola Abiola, when the timekeeper was trying to stop him, he now said, no, don't stop me, you understand? These are things that are expected, but Nigerians want to see Tinubu, APC presidential candidate, coming out to address the gathering like that. Not something of a selected interview of journalists or media persons to just interview him based on what they want. No, come out and slug it out with other presidential candidates and put your plan before Nigerians, so that you can be interviewed. You can tell them more. This is what I want to do. Nigerians want to hear from Atiku. Nigerians want to see that from Tinubu as well. It's not something of saying you select where to go. No, we don't want that.
Thank you so much. In case you are joining for the first time, this is Aspheric News Update. Every morning we'll bring you news update from our national newspaper and headlines, and we want you to join us on this program. If you want to call in, please, you can call on WhatsApp. Please, you want to call in to contribute to air your view. If you want to comment, please comment and let know where you're calling, where you're watching from. And do not forget to use the number you display in front of you, +234 8099998112. If you want to call in to contribute or to air your view. We want to know what's your opinion on this, on on today's newspaper headlines and our discussion about, especially in Nigerian policy, the debates and the economy of Nigerians. We'll begin this morning with the This Day newspaper, This Day's newspaper and National News newspaper. We have Kayente, no government can address all Nigerians' problem. No government can address all Nigerians' problem. That is the top of the newspaper. At Arise Presidential Town Hall Series, candidate layout agenda. That is actually what we are discussing right now. So, but let's look at this point, and nobody can address all Nigerians' problem. And people believe that this problem can be resolved. You know, this thing can be done.
Well, you see, the fact is that there are, let's try to categorize Nigerians' problem. We have the economic problem, we have a security problem, we have some other fundamental problem, which is much more like a structural problem. If you are talking about structural problem, I don't think that the structural problem can be addressed by any particular administration, but a particular administration can lay the foundation for a possible solution that it will evolve after some time. For instance, if you are talking about, okay, let's talk about the issue of unity of Nigeria, because as far as I'm concerned, if there's no unity, no matter how juicy a blueprint of any presidential candidate is concerned, or any manifesto of any political party is concerned, you are bound to fail, because Nigeria is a peculiar country in the sense that our diversity is being managed through what? Through representation. If you decide to have a lopsided appointment, certainly other part of Nigeria will react, and that is the situation that we now record during this Buhari administration. You now discover that during Buhari administration now, whether we like it or not, we must tell ourselves the truth that, look, we will now have a particular section of the country that decided to say, look, we want to cede, we want to opt out of Nigeria Federation. So it's not, they are not even talking about the economy this time around again, but they are talking about the unity, they are talking about inclusiveness, they are talking about marginalization. So what I'm saying in essence is that when you decide to have a juicy economic plan, nobody wants to listen to that economic plan. As long as there is no representation, there is no fairness, there is no equity. Once you don't have that equity, certainly you are bound to fail. And that is the situation with the structural problem that we're talking about here. No matter what you intend to do, once you cannot tackle the issue of our diversity, there will be lacking in unity in diversity, and you are bound to fail. So you look at it, when that person now decides to say, okay, look, only one administration cannot solve all the Nigerian problems. Yes, it's right. A particular administration should be able to set a standard to say, look, I have 2-point agenda or 3-point agenda. I'm working on agriculture and I'm working on the unity of Nigeria. You now discover that every Nigerian will now have that sense of belonging. Then, before you talk about agriculture, then again, you discover, just like Mr. Peter Obina said yesterday, he has so much on agriculture in the north. Why should we have a vast arable land that is not cultivated? And we are talking about the GDP, then agriculture is not contributing much for the GDP. That is the situation in here. A particular administration should be able to lay the foundation so that the successive administration will now fall back on that this. But sadly, you now discover that in Nigeria, you discover that virtually, although President Buhari should be commended in terms of that, because there are some legacy projects that he inherited and he completed them and he started his own. But you discover that in some states, you now discover that a governor will decide to abandon an elephant project, a project that is impactful. Take for instance, Port Harcourt very well, you have the monorail. What happened to the monorail? Despite all the money that was chunked into that project, you discover that it has been abandoned. So that is what we are talking about. A government is supposed to be continuum. Government is not supposed to say, okay, because you are coming from APC, you are coming from XYZ, and that you are not in the office again, you abandon it. That is not the case. A government is a continuum. A particular administration will solve one problem, another administration, it will come to a point that, look, that administration will then decide to say, okay, I'm not investing in infrastructure again. I'm doing on human capital development. That is how it's supposed to be. But in our own climb here, it's a completely different ball game. Although you now discover that due to the enormous problem on ground today, you discover that Nigerians are now hoping to say, look, our problem after 2023, it will be solved. That is the same mentality that we enter into Buhari administration, and that you discover that a lot of people are disappointed. You cannot hold on to only one particular administration to say, okay, this particular administration will solve our problem. You understand? The earlier we start telling ourselves the truth, the better for us. All we are looking for, the next administration that will come in, should be able to like tackle the issue of insecurity, so that this insecurity problem will solve. Then you talk about how Nigerians will have that sense of belonging to say, look, I'm a Nigerian. You should hit your chest that, look, I'm a Nigerian, I belong to a Nigeria. Not in this situation that some people will now decide to now lampoon their country to say, look, that sense of belonging, they don't, because you don't blame them. You understand? So once you don't have that sense of belonging, you believe that you are being shortchanged in the federation, you are bound to like have a rethink, and that is exactly what we are dealing with today. So the next administration should be able to is going to inherit that baggage of problem, or which is included. One of it is the issue of disunity. Once we have that unity, you will discover that all other things will fall into place.
All right, thank you so much. The next two also we discussed this morning will be on the Tribune newspaper. Nigerian Tribune. In Nigerian Tribune, we have federal government can't be rigid with no work, no pay policy for universities. Committee of Vice Chancellors. Government must pay lecturers same way striking doctors were paid. Falani. Let's also look at that. You know, that has been an issue,
serious issue throughout last week. You understand the issue?
I think they are also supposed to hold the meeting this week. This week. So we don't want them to go back to strike again.
No. We don't beg for that again. No,
because we are wanting is the lasting solution to our students. Because now as they have reduced their academic. But looking at all of that, and somebody was at home and insisted that he must be paid. Now, sorry, I meant to say. The students were denied more than 9 months.
Yeah.
That affected our NYC curriculum. Affected a lot.
Even the new enrollment into the school. It's
affected. JAB lost a lot of money because they were unable to
enroll
people and all of that. Government lost money because you were not on duty. I might insist that they must pay you.
I think one of the explanation that ASU gave is that no matter the length of strike they embark on, they lost, they will still meet up. Of which I reason with them, although they will meet up at their own term, the loss will now fall back on the student. And that is what the federal government is trying to avoid this time around, so that they shouldn't set that bad precedent to say, look, ASU or any association can decide to wake up tomorrow and go on strike, because after they come back from the strike, they will still be paid. And I believe that is why federal government is like try to put an end to that. Well, it's sad. Throughout last week, a lot of lecturers, well, some of them are of our friends, they decide to like air out their grievances to say, look, for October, I only received half salary, of which it became so an issue that it even hit the social media, and some of them post their details of their payment. Well, within the weekend, Friday and Saturday, the Minister of Labour and Employment, he came out, he said that, look, we only assess the number of days that ASU worked. Since they worked for only 2 weeks, we decided to pay them half salary. So you discovered that he now insisted on this policy of no work, no pay. Well, it's sad that ASU is now like boiling again. They have already called for their next meeting, and the Committee of Vice Chancellors, they are now saying that, look, federal government shouldn't be rigid in terms of this. Well, just like you said, we are begging ASU as well as federal government not to allow this situation derail again. We don't want a situation whereby ASU will now go back to strike again. We don't want it. So, to me, if ASU didn't go to strike, the money for their overhead costs has already been budgeted and captured in the 2022 budget. They should give them their money and caution them against going to strike next time. Then the fundamental issues that led to the strike, government too should look into it, so that we shouldn't have that strike again, because as long as those problems still remain, ASU is bound to go on strike.
Let me take it from there. Somebody said on social media that the federal government to use the money budgeted for us to can construct roads.
Well, that person is reasonable. You understand? Because
they shouldn't give it to them. And this is actually a student. He mentioned the name of the university. Said, look, they should use the money they're supposed to give us to go and build one road. Name it as
you understand. So it's right because. But the unfortunate situation is that since this money is budgeted and government doesn't want to pay them, where would the money go? And that is why I reason with that same view too. Because if you are not paying them, that money has already been captured. Government should come out and be transparent in what they intend to do with that money. It shouldn't be something that you denied paying them, and then at the end of the day now, the money will now develop wings, just like we had last time that to say the snake swallowed money. You understand? So that is the case here. If government can say, okay, look, we are not going to pay you, that money should be channeled into a capital project so that it should be visible to every Nigerian to see it.
Oh, I see on the Tribune newspaper we have APC, PDP, APC Labour Party in true of candidate disqualification. Taraba, Rivers, Ogun, Kaduna affected. We also have in the Tribune newspaper that is from the medical federal government says 1,000 out of 3,000 medical doctors leave Nigeria every year. Federal government saying that. It was on same Tribune newspaper we have police arrest man over allegedly setting fire setting 5 stepchildren ablaze in that is in Ondo State. That would
I can't really fathom why a human being would just decide to set ablaze his fellow human being over what? Stepchildren. Even if they are not your children, even if they belong to, they are human beings just like you too.
5 children.
5 children. You set them ablaze. I think it's just that I am sorry to use this on the public TV that we have some people that are working. They are human beings, but it seems as if their insanity is in doubt. So otherwise, how can you have but you are interested, their mother is your wife. Why would you set them ablaze? And then they want to have a relationship with that kind of woman.
That could be frustration and depression.
No matter the depression, if you are depressed, why don't you hurt your own self? When you hurt yourself, you feel the pain. So if you can feel the pain, why doing that same thing to another person?
Please, in case if you are watching us that you want to, contribute, or you want to air your view, if there is something that you want us to talk about, please do not forget to join us or call us on WhatsApp on the number displayed on the screen, +234 80999999 8117. Please, you can call in on WhatsApp that we can also join on this conversation. Thank you. Still on Tribune newspaper, we have 24 survived, 19 dead in Tanzanian plane crash.
Well, it's really unfortunate that
the locals were able to rescue.
Yeah, they were able to rescue some persons, and some persons died. The manner that the plane plunged into Lake Victoria is something that nobody can.
And that's a safe one for him.
Yeah, you understand. So, yeah, that should be. But people, air transportation is being seen as no matter the mishap, it's being seen as the most safest of all transportation. But in Africa, we keep on hearing of plane crash every now and then, so which is sad. Although some of these things as a result of faulty maintenance, and aircraft is not something that you decide at your own time to say that you want to go and do the maintenance. No, it's something that the maintenance is done periodically to say okay. But you discover that here, most of the airline, they don't carry out the maintenance as it's supposed to be done. At the end of the day now, they now subject lives of their passengers to this kind of risk. Although we're not trying to preempt what the investigation, because accident and Bureau will still conduct their own findings, and they will come out with their report regarding what happened. But it's really sad that people now died. May the souls of those that departed rest in peace.
All right, we'll still continue on our morning daily newspaper review. We're still going to discuss on the Sun newspaper, but before that, let me ask you a question. And the issue of NDLA recovering some hard drugs, and they keep arresting people, and most times when when you recover these hard drugs, what did they use it for?
Well, we saw
because we also find out that some of our findings share that some of them also make some particular group of people among them also make use of this substance. Because
well, you are not far from the truth. Let me make a particular case in the 90s. It's a popular case. It was during Babangida time. Babangida was the head of president then, military head of state then. I could remember a particular drug syndicate led by Joe Brown Akubeze. He was arrested, and his case became a national embarrassment. National embarrassment in the case that when he was led to the court during the trial, the number of cocaine that the NDLA presented as evidence was short of what they arrested and confiscated from him, of which the guy now cried out. And when the guy cried out, that was when the NDLA chairman then, I think Bapa Jamari or his name, I've forgotten his name, it led to his sack from the office by Babangida then. Because Joe Brown insisted that, look, I had 12 packages of cocaine. These are the number of cocaine that was confiscated from me. Then what NDLA tendered as evidence in the court was less than 6 or 7. You understand? So it means that what you are saying now is it happened. For instance, recently we saw where NDLA now burgled a warehouse in Ikorodu, Lagos. At the end of the day, within a week, we now saw where NDLA now set ablaze cache of those cocaine. We see it just that it's not something that other arms of the government will now come into it to say, okay, look, let's verify. What are you burning? You know, during that time, I could recall the kind of a banter on Twitter whereby some Nigerians are alleging that, look, what if NDLA did not burn the actual drugs that they confiscated from Ikorodu?
Replace it with something
replace it with something else and present it. These are something that is possible. Nigerians can do it. You understand? Nigerians can do it. Recall the case of Abba Kyari, the suspended DCP Abba Kyari. This is a man, a police officer that is saddled with the responsibility of fighting crime. But he was alleged to be involved in crime too. These are things that it's possible that Nigerians can do it. But in all this, we still need to commend NDLA because they are doing their statutory responsibility function of ensuring that Nigeria is free of drug. They cannot do it alone. Others, communities, they can do it. Communities can come in. Religious bodies can come in. But one thing or other, we must tell ourselves the truth is that Nigeria is not regarded as a consumer nation when it comes to drug. We are just traffickers. All this, it will come into Nigeria before you know it will leave Nigeria to some other places. And that is why you now discover that the Western nations, they are not taking it lightly with Nigeria when it comes to drug. And you see that they are investing so much in drug fighting and assisting NDLA to make sure that they do their work satisfactorily.
Right, next to discuss this morning will be on the Daily Sun newspaper. The Daily Sun newspaper we have on the newspaper INEC under attack over vote registration, over vote registration, accused of bias against some zones. And if you looked at the number of people that have been registered from zones and the number of vote cancellation in some zones, you feel like that some area has more cancellation than others.
Well, I believe that before the election itself, INEC will give more explanation why they decide to do that. But the preliminary report INEC chairman gave was that they recorded double registration in some certain areas, whereby all they have to do is to cancel. If you decide to register double, they cancel it because you understand this is not like the manual thing again. This is a computerized thing whereby your thumbprint, if you decide to do it twice, it will reflect and show that you have done it before, previously done it. And that is why you discover that before they embark on the capturing, they embark on a vigorous sensitization. I think politicians and even community leaders and other people, they need to come in and explain to people, look, next time if you have done this thing before, all you need to do, don't do it. All you need to do, you only need to transfer your polling unit to more closer to wherever you are residing new, instead of embarking on a double registration whereby it will become a problem and you'll be disqualified completely. But by and large, you know, Nigeria is a peculiar country that you discover that this issue of anything that has to do with registration, especially election, is critical. Census is critical. And that is why the essence of a particular thing is not always achieved because of this. If INEC will cancel, take for instance, if INEC decide to say, okay, the number of cancellation comes from the south, certainly the Southerners, they won't take it the way you will see it. But no matter the explanation they are giving, instead of decide to say, okay, we decide to stop the decision within social time, give room to say, okay, re-enroll some people again to give equal opportunity to all Nigerians, instead of decide to say, okay, this particular state, we cancel 1,000, 2,000 from a particular state, and that particular state, they have already been like at a disadvantage stage. That is why you now discover that some states record higher. That state that record higher, state for instance like Kano that has more higher voters with a PVC, and you compare to a state like Enugu with less. Instead of decide to say, okay, you stop in Enugu, give them that open that, let it be open so that they should be able to capture everybody that is eligible to vote.
Still on the newspaper, we have flood. 51 died, 254 communities submerged. I hope they will. My concern is this: we are close to Christmas.
Christmas time, yeah.
So, where would they celebrate Christmas? And are they going to celebrate Christmas in IDP camp throughout the season?
I don't even see it like those people. If you look at if somebody in an organizing situation, he's not even thinking about the festivity. He's thinking about his current situation now. Yes. It's really sad. I watched this at the presidential villa last week, whereby the Minister of Humanitarian and Disaster, she made one careless statement. I regard it as a careless statement. She said, no. To me, it's careless.
You don't use that word careless. Somebody making careless.
No,
it's an opinion. So
no, that is she's a public servant.
But don't use the word. That is someone's opinion.
It became an issue between her and Bayelsa state government. You understand? Why I'm saying careless, she now make references. She said Bayelsa is not even the most hard-hit state. You understand? And she said Jigawa is the most hard-hit. These are Nigerians. Whether if it is only one person or two person, he's a Nigerian. You see that America deployed their Marines all the way from US to come and rescue only two persons from Nigeria here. Do you know what it costs them in terms of money when you want to quantify it in terms of money? But we're having a minister, you have a ministry that decided not to commiserate with a particular state. I saw it, even the Minister of State for Petroleum, when he went to Bayelsa to on a spot assessment, I didn't see him visiting the state governor. And I saw it, I was not too happy with it, but you understand, but this, no matter what we say, they are public servants. They are politicians before they are being elected, before they are being nominated to become appointed to become ministers. He came there wearing a face cap with a particular presidential candidate logo, of which it turned out to be like more or less like a jamboree, instead of achieving that humanitarian gesture of visiting people that are suffering. It's really sad. Just like you said, people that are in IDP camp, most likely they will remain in the IDP camp till that Christmas time, because Christmas is just like a month from now. You understand? It's really sad. But even if they are going to do the celebration in the IDP camp, government should be able to reach out to them. Government should support them. At a time that people are suffering like this, an emergency situation like this is when government is supposed to reach out to the people that are suffering, because you can only feel that you are a Nigerian when your government decides to reach out to you. Understand? So, but so far, the report we are getting is not enough. Although the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, he mentioned that this is what the government has done, this is what the government has done. But just like we already know, you discover that when such a situation comes, this is a calamity that befall on people. People should avoid politicizing it. if you observe what is happening between Bayelsa and the federal government, it's like they are trying to politicize it. It's like the Bayelsa state government is like to politicize it to show to the people that look, the federal government is not with you, and that is what they are aiming at. Otherwise, the minister said that look, we call on the state, come, let's do it this way, but the state is not willing to come out. She even mentioned that they are using the Nigerian Air Force is assisting them to distribute the relief material to the IDP camps.
I saw some pictures from aircraft.
You understand? So this is the case. So the state government should not politicize issue of disaster. At the end of the day, the people that will suffer are just ordinary people. When such a situation happens, we expect that look, the first step that any state should do is approach the FGN. When you approach the FGN, be transparent about it, and the FGN refuse to respond to you. That is when you now come out and cry to say, look, I approach the FGN because my state is PDP, because my state is ABGA. That is why you are doing this to me. It will be more open. But a situation whereby you decide to federal government say, come, let's do it this way. You want them to hand over the relief material to you as a state. I believe that the federal government will not do that. Federal government would like to say, okay, come out. If they are bringing the relief material, you should be there while they do the distribution. But you discover that governors, most times, what they want is that if this is coming to the state, give them to me. I'll do the distribution. And doing the distribution, it will now develop wing and go to some other community being favored based on politics. And that is what the FGN2 is avoiding.
All right, still on the Sun newspaper, we have APC, PDP fight over Atiku Tinubu's health condition. Our candidates more physical fit than you. Fine Canada tells PDP candidates. Atiku better on every parameter, says spokesperson.
It's just like when we open this discussion, we said that look, any debate, any town meeting that you don't have these two presidential candidates, it will certainly affect the other presidential candidate. If you observe very well, that yesterday it was more or less of a relaxed atmosphere because Tinubu was not there and Atiku was not there physically, although he was represented by his running mate. What the kind of persons that Nigerians want to see is Atiku, Bola Tinubu, and Peter Obi. These people, they must be fully on ground. They should slug it out and talk. Well, the issue of health of Atiku and Tinubu has been something of concern to, and it becomes a debating topic in this 2023 election campaign. It's really unfortunate that up to now we have not seen any particular fora whereby the candidate of APC has come out to say, okay, he will freely engage people. I have not seen that. So also, although we have seen a situation whereby the NBA conference where Atiku was there, Labour Party, Peter Obi was there, and some other, they were there. He has done it very well. But in this case now, they are not talking about their ill health, whether they are fit or they are not. It's something that, I don't know what happened to our constitution. Is it that our constitution is faulty, whereby if somebody is medical record of a particular somebody that is seeking to run for an office of the president, governor, chairman, and it should be something that it should be transparent and should be open to everyone to know about it. And that is why, since it's been shrouded with secrecy, that is why you discover that it has become a issue of a political debate. People have been saying that that Tinubu is not fit because of shaking hands. You understand? The same thing too is applied to Atiku today, that is looking frail, unlike the Atiku that they know in 2019. Whether we like it or not, something is amiss. The issue of age is telling on both of them, whether we like it or not.
And at that stage, you
can't cheat nature. Certain things will come out.
You also have I will leave legacies of credible elections, massive infrastructure. Buhari, Nigerians deserve permanent seat at United Nations Security Council.
Well, it's the same assurance that he's giving. He has been giving that assurance. Last week, he told the police that police should be neutral. I believe that he meant what he's saying, that he wants to give a credible election in 2023. Recall that in 2015, Goodluck Jonathan did it by ensuring that we had a peaceful election whereby the winner, before the winner was announced, he, as the then president, made a call and congratulated Buhari then. So Buhari owes Nigeria that task to say, look, conduct a free and fair election and hand over and go in 2023. And so far, on his own part, he has been doing fairly good. At least we have not seen a situation whereby he's trying to like impose his will to say, okay, for instance, if the APC is like his party and Tinubu is coming from this, although he has been trying to like campaign for APC, but we have not seen that situation whereby he favored the APC against other political party. We have not seen that. Well, the only thing here now is for him to conduct that free and fair election and ensure that he go, and he is assuring Nigeria that I'm going to do this. Then the other part again, he said Nigeria deserves a permanent seat at the Security Council. Well, it's something of a toy dream. Right from the military era, we have been championing this, that we want in Nigeria or an Africa whereby Nigeria, if it's being given to Africa, then Nigeria should be there, because Nigeria is seen as the giant of Africa, the most populous black nation in the world. So it's right. It's something that he can start the campaign from now, but really sad that Buhari is not doing too well when it comes to international relations. His foreign policy is not too aggressive, it's not too sharp. Even in Africa, that we are saying Africa has been playing that dominant role, you now discover that apart from the issue of intervention in Mali, even the intervention in Mali, at the end of the day, the coup plotters, they are still there. As a military, the coup plotters are still there as a military junta. So it has not been doing very well. And these are things that at the international community, they take into consideration your contribution in the international affair. So if he's talking about having a permanent representative in the Security Council, I don't see that coming very soon.
All right, next we discuss with you on the Vanguard newspaper. In Vanguard newspaper, we have Okowa Omoagege trade war over pensioner protests in Delta State. That was over the weekend, yeah. It's
really sad that most of some governors, even that of Rivers too, pensioners are crying that they are being owed their pensions. You understand? These are senior citizens, people that have worked all their life, some of them 35 years in service. They are coming out, their pension is not like that full salary anymore. It's that peanut that they are being paid. Somebody that is earning like 70,000 when he was in active service is taking less than 30,000 as a, or thereabout as a pension, and they are still owing that person. What do you expect? We have been seeing some stories, disturbing pictures from protests here and there. You could see some of them, they are already ailing. Old men, they are already ailing. Old women, they are already ailing. What will make them happy to say, look, I have served for 35 years? It's that pension. Even if it's not enough, provided it's coming to them every month, you discover that they will be happy. Although we have this joint contributory pension, if the organization that they served did not meet up their own district, you discover that whatever they contributed wouldn't be given to them. So the governor of Delta, who is running mate to the PDP presidential candidate, he should remember that, look, this is campaign period. The only thing that he can show as an example, just like Peter Obi keep on making reference to his time as a governor of Anambra State, that is the same way he, as a governor of Delta, will be making reference to his achievement. He should remember that these are senior citizens. They can dent his image, whatever thing that he want to do in his political quest to become vice president. He should be able to solve that problem. He should solve that problem. It shouldn't be a problem that will become his albatross in a political quest. These are senior citizens. They should remember that one day, them too, they will not become old, just like these people.
All right, we still have on the Vanguard newspaper, political party CSOs tackle INEC over public view on polling results. Political parties, CSOs, tackled INEC over public view of polling results.
Well, the fact is that it's all about all they are clamoring for is a transparent election. It shouldn't be something of from the polling units.
Everybody feel that INEC is biased.
So no, INEC has been.
How is it feeling right now?
No, INEC has done. Although it's something of by law to say, okay, by amended electoral act, is by law that look. INEC has said, look, we have embraced some technology. We have brought out some technology that will ensure a credible election in 2023, like the case of the beavers, that is the biometric capturing mode. Unlike before, whereby you say that okay, if you cannot, if a data capturing machine cannot get your data, there is room for to do it manually. But this time around, there's nothing like any manual anymore. Of which, again, you have the transmission of the result, which is going to be done electronically. All these are processes, are innovation that has been brought into the 2023 election, that we are going to see that the result, at least no matter what, is going to be more or less transparent. Just like we have seen the situation in Osun State and in Ekiti State, whereby people could sit in their room in Lagos or Abuja or Kaduna or Port Harcourt and monitor the result of what is happening in Ekiti. That is what people are now clamoring for. That INEC, the politicians, they have their own way of doing things. They have ways of, if they are like planning to like rig the election, you now discover that they sponsor some CSOs and here and there. Some CSO came out and said, look, it's not ripe to say, okay, you discard the manual accreditation. But INEC is insisting that, look, manual the accreditation, there's no room for manual accreditation in 2023 election. So INEC, to some extent, we should give them credit for insisting that, look, they want to do what is right.
Right, next we discuss will be on Daily Trust newspaper. And Daily Trust newspaper, we have civil servants engaged in the minor jobs to feed families, work as a caterer, tricycle drivers after work, boost production to lower inflation economies. Don't you really think this will affect their job? Let take it from that view.
Well, no, ideally, it's like they have already abused the civil service rules, ethics of their profession. Once you have taken up that employment to say, okay, you are a civil servant, you are not supposed to gainfully engage in other activities apart from farming. That is the regulation. But you now see some of them, you cannot, their income cannot longer carry their expenditure. So at the end of the day, they have to like do some other things to mitigate the inflation problem. For instance, if someone that owns a car, in a week, if you want to ride his car to the office and do some other runnings around, you discover that he will spend like 9,000 to fill his tank. By the time you now take over 40-something thousand from your salary, just because you fill your car, you discover that you won't be able to meet up. You have some other expenditures to meet up. You have the student school fees. Some of them, they pay house rent. Then you talk about the welfare of the family, the feeding and some other things which the inflation has eaten too deep. That is why you now discover that the economy is suffering. The income is stagnant, but the inflation has taken too much from the income. That is why people are suffering. So there is every bound to see the civil servant try to do some other things to meet up. For instance, a lot of them that are mobile, they have to use their cars to do runnings around to make sure that they support their income. Otherwise, they cannot meet up. It's just sad that some other, like the Daily Trust has just pointed out that look, some of them are doing some menial jobs. The side that it doesn't go well is to see a civil servant going to the site to do messing work and to do some other things to support their family. Well, it's all about survival. The truth is that this is not the best of time for Nigerians. This is not the best of time. Even the government is crying. Just like when we are hearing yesterday, when Alfred Ruwani asked this question that, look, if you decide to have this deficit, how do you meet up? That is what the government is doing too. We are having deficit. Just we as citizens were crying. Government too is crying. You understand? It's just that government is credit worthy. Government can approach lenders to lend them money to meet up. You understand? But some of these individuals, including their civil servant, they are not credit worthy. Even if they are credit worthy, because of their salary account, how many times are you going to have an overdraft from your bank? if the one that you have taken, you have not been able to pay back, are you expecting them to give you again? So it's a terrible time, and government can, I don't know whether what government can do to make sure that beat down this issue of this inflation. The cost of feeding a family now is too high.
All right, so next to discuss will be on the Punch newspaper. The Punch newspaper, we have forest crisis, that's forest exchange crisis. Trapped fund hit 567 million US dollars as federal government meet airlines. Ministry, Emirates negotiates flight resumption. CBN may opt for part payment. Ministers' aid. If you also see there, we see half salary. Also, schools meet lecturers' month sit at home. We still have presidential town hall. Economic security dominate as Atiku. Tinubu skip debate. Obi Kwankwaso Okowa, Kola Abiola profile solutions. Protests in Europe over PDP APC presidential candidate absent. Tinubu had fixed engagement with minor farmers before invitation PCC. Let's take it on from there. So these are let's look at forest exchange. Let's start from there.
Well, the issue of the foreign exchange, whereby it's affecting airline, I think Emirates Airline has already.
You know, there was protest in Lagos, yes, and some airline was shut down. Emirates Airline has been consistent complaining about the type of fund.
And of which CBN promised that they are going to pay them. It's really sad that CBN was not being able to pay them, and till now they decide to suspend their operation in Nigeria. Well, it's sad, but you can't start giving an explanation to somebody. This is their money. It's not like it's not their money.
No, the problem is, I think they want their
money in dollar.
Not in dollar.
In dollar.
So not in Nigerian currency.
Not in Nigerian currency. And that is the problem.
To our economy.
It's not favorable to our economy because we too we need dollar. You understand? So, and is in attempt to look for this dollar that is causing this weakening of naira. So, and they are saying no. Look, they want to take their money in dollar and not naira. And if you look at them, if you look at the case very well, these are foreign airline. The internationally accepted currency is a dollar, and you want to pay them in your own local currency. How do you want them to do it? You understand? So I think it is something that we cannot achieve it. We cannot achieve it totally on this way, because if you look at it, Emirates Airline is one of the major airlines that supplies Middle East to Nigeria. It's going to be difficult for Nigerians that, apart from those ones going on leisure, those ones that are going on business trip, you discover that it will cost them more to go through some other airline. So at the end of the day, CBN should be able to look into their matter and negotiate with them to say, look, even if they are not going to pay them the full payment, they should be able to spread it for some time to make sure that they recoup their money and recoup their money.
We also have 19 died at Tanzania plane plug into a leak.
Yeah.
Aswab attack claimed with 15,111 so far. Think tank. PDP crisis won't stop Atiku's victory.
Every aspirant, every candidate is sure of victory. That is one thing about politics. Even if they decide to tell you that, look, you are not going to win, you won't take it. The person that is telling you that, Oga, you can't win, you perceive that person to be your enemy. So the politicians, they know how to, their supporters around them, they know how to assure them to say, okay, you are going to emerge victorious. Well, so far we could see that PDP is not well. PDP is sick. We have seen so far that Governor Nyosiwike and other 4 governors, they are considered themselves as an opposition within the party, and of which is giving Atiku, the presidential candidate of the party, headache. Although up to now they have not been able to resolve that problem, and they have not been able to resolve the problem, and they are still inching towards the campaign and towards the election itself. I don't see the PDP coming out victorious if they should continue this way. There's another newspaper headline there that we saw it that look that Another governor is planning to pull out from the campaign council of Atiku. All these are problems, internal problem that they refuse to manage it amicably until now. That problem has exacerbated and it's coming out and it's going to tear the party apart ahead of 2023 election. It's unfortunate.
So let's also to discuss on our. Let's also visit. Let's also take a look at the Nation newspaper. So the Nation newspaper, dollar scarcity worsen. Dollar scarcity worsen petrol supply, says marketer. Let's just take it from there because that is more consigned
to
Nigerians and for over 2 months now, especially in the city center Abuja, there was the issue of scarcity. Flood started, it persisted, and before then they already have scarcity. Now what we are seeing now is
foreign exchange, scarce foreign exchange.
Yes, scarce foreign exchange also.
See, Dr. Israel, it's just like you mentioned, did you observe something? Starting from the beginning of this year.
Most of the food station now, they're not selling.
They are not selling. Starting from the beginning of this year, first of all, they gave that excuse to say the adulterated fuel was imported. Exactly. At the end of the day, nobody was sanctioned. Then come this issue of flood, of which they say the Lokoja was flooded and the tankers could not pass down to Abuja. Initially, it was only in Abuja, and now you're now seeing that independent marketers are complaining that inability to access dollars. Too many problems that nobody can easily pinpoint to say, okay, this is exactly what is causing this scarcity. If the marketers are telling us that this, CBN has been able to solve this problem long ago. It said, look, we are supplying commercial banks dollars. Go to any commercial bank to access this money, and at the government regulated price, which is still less than 500 naira per dollar. But if they go to their commercial banks, are they going to get those dollars? You understand? Those ones that have a dollar account, it's easier for them to say, okay, because they made deposit, and if they want the money to draw money based on what they saved, they should be able to draw. But in this case, dollar is scarce. Government doesn't have dollar. Where is this dollar coming from? Dollar is coming from when Nigeria decide to sell crude oil. That is when the dollar is coming. It's not like Nigeria is printing dollar. Nigeria doesn't print dollar. Nigeria too is just, even if we are a country, it's what they sell that they earn this dollar. And when they earn this dollar, is government channel it into some other commercial bank to make it accessible to, so that whoever is in need of this dollar is accessible to it. But what the government has not been able to do all this while is that, do you have need for dollar? That is the question. Someone that wants to import toothpick, he will need dollar. Somebody that want to do to go on the medical tourism,
majority of things that we use is
imported, and we need this dollar. Do we even need importation of these things? That is why we're talking about diversification. As long as we would not diversify, certainly we will continue to seek and run after dollar. And as long as we continue to run after the dollar, it will weaken our own currency, which is naira.
All right, so next to discuss on Nation newspaper will be another governor threatened to quit Atiku's campaign. Bola Mohammed, PDP presidential candidate working against my re-election. Wike Makinde orders to sustain opposition against SVP. Otom blast Atiku.
Well, in terms of Otom and Wike and Makinde and Ikpazu and the Enugu governor, their own position is already known. So, and they are not ready to back down on their stand. Well, the surprising part is this Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State. This is Bauchi and this is Adamawa State. They are just close by. In reality, you decide to see whoever is from Adamawa is supposed to see the person from Bauchi as his brother, because both are from the northeast. But position doesn't reason that way. Instead of Bala Mohammed to see Atiku as his own, he's not seeing it that way. It's all about aspiration. It's all about his own ambition too. He's running to become for a re-election, and he's saying that, look, Atiku is not Atiku is undermining his own election in 2023. certainly he has every reason to back down from Atiku presidential campaign council, and that is why he's threatening now. I believe that before it will get out of hand, because governors are crucial. Any governor that you have within your fold, and if you cannot get hold of him and maintain that governor, and you allow that governor to go, you discover that your strength is pulling down, and that is why you decide to see that Governor Wike is so strong, because he has been able to hold on to 4 of his colleagues, of which whatever thing he say, that is what they will do. In fact, Otom practically said that, look, you cannot dialogue with Atiku when he has not resolved what is between Wike and himself. So Atiku should not allow Governor Bala Mohammed to pull out of his presidential campaign, because doing so, it means that he's going to lose 6 governors. And when he loses 6 governors, certainly he cannot go anywhere.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we remain as Spheric and for you. If you're joining us for the first time, then don't forget to follow us on our social media handles. On social media handles are there displayed on the screen. On our Facebook, we have official Aspheric News, and our Instagram we have at Aspheric News, on our Twitter we have at Aspheric News. Then on our website is www.asphericnews.com, and I repeat, www.asphericnews.com. Do not forget to call on us or send us messages on the WhatsApp. Send us information around the area, breaking news, let's have it. You want to share the content with us, do not forget to call on us, +234 809999 +234 8099998117, and I repeat, +234 8099998117. Thank you so much until we come here back again. Thank you. Bye for now. Thank you.